In my ignorance, I didn't realize until right then that I was wiping traces of sweat from the spirits parting. I didn't even know it was gone. Perhaps it passed right next to me. Perhaps it brushed against me as it left. Perhaps it bade me farewell, waved or smiled. But even though I was so close, I did not see it at all. I came back from quite a long trip. I went to Japan with my family for a couple of weeks, although it felt much longer. And now it's my first weekend back. I am quite jet lagged, quite tired. So it's a Saturday and I'm not planning to do anything. I don't really want to leave my apartment. I just want to chill. So I thought I would spend the day reading. And since I'm at it, one thing that I always wanted to do and to film was a reading challenge. I want to see how many books I'm able to read in one day if I don't do anything else. And obviously the key to this challenge is to pick short books because otherwise the book count wouldn't be very impressive. And I have a few here on my desk that are quite short that I wanted to get through. So I thought that maybe today would be a good day to try and get this off my to be read list. I'll get started now with The Great Gatsby and we'll see how far along we go. Yesterday I made sure to do all of my chores, like clean the apartment and stuff like that, so I don't really have any distractions today and I'm happy to just have a chill reading day. So yes, let's get started with this reading challenge. The makeshift bookmark for today is this receipt, all in Japanese. I forgot what it was for, but yes, we'll use it for bookmark today. I really want to be careful not to break the spine of this book, so it's gonna be a little challenging to read because I can't open the pages a lot, but I really don't want to break it, so I'm gonna have to make do with it. So we are on page 20, which is when Nick kind of spots for the first time Gatsby in the property next to his, and he says that he wanted to call for him, but in the end he didn't, for he gave a sudden intimation that he was content to be alone. He stretched out his arms toward the dark water in a curious way, and far as I was from him, I could have sworn he was trembling. Involuntarily, I glanced seaward and distinguished nothing except a single green light, minute and far away. That might have been at the end of the dock. When I looked once more for Gatsby, he had vanished, and I was alone again in the unquiet darkness. So obviously there is this whole symbolism of this green light that Gatsby continues to stare at and look at across the water. And yeah, this is the first time in chapter 1 when it was mentioned in the book. So it's almost lunchtime. I am halfway through The Great Gatsby. I had to take a long call with a friend, so that slowed down my reading a bit, but I just got to the scene where Gatsby and Daisy meet for the first time, and obviously we have built up quite a while in the first part of the book to this encounter, so it's like very moving, full of feelings and trepidation, and of course there is the whole reflection where Gatsby has built up Daisy in his mind so much over the course of these 5 years that reality just can't match up to his the illusion of her that he has created in his mind, and so he's overwhelmed with feeling. And while in the first chapters he seems so put together, so control all the time. Here he's overwhelmed by emotions. He kind of acts like a kid. He doesn't even know what to say, what to feel, or who he is anymore. So I'm gonna stop now at this point, and I'm gonna make some lunch, and then I'll finish The Great Gatsby and finish it in a little while. The Great Gatsby finally, and yeah, it's always great to read it in one sitting because you really get a sense of the flow and the pace, and I think it's always a great experience. When I was young and I read it for the first time in high school, I think I was really kind of in love with the character of Gatsby and his love and his feeling for Daisy. But now reading it again later, I kind of feel that his refusal to grow up and to accept that Daisy might have grown up as well and that she was no longer the same girl, and kind of his unrealistic expectation that she would just drop her entire life and run off with him kind of makes him, I don't know, a little less relatable now. If I were to encounter someone like that, I'm not sure I would be swept off my feet or more like red flag. But yes, so I'm gonna take a break from novels now and read this collection of short stories, and and I'll check back with you in a little while. I finished the collection of short stories by Rania Mamoun, who is a Sudanese author. It was quite short, this book, it's just 70 pages, but I liked it. The stories were all kind of sad in general. I think the common theme was a sort of longing and just grieving for absences and people who have left and left some kind of void. The one I liked especially, which again is on the more depressing side, is the second one, Passing, which is sort of about the death of her father and the moment where he actually passes. And it ends, it's all very moving, and then it ends with these words that are quite strong. In my ignorance, I didn't realize until right then that I was wiping traces of sweat from the spirit's parting. I didn't even know it was gone. Perhaps it passed right next to me. Perhaps it brushed against me as it left. Perhaps it bade me farewell, waved or smiled. But even though I was so close, I did not see it at all. So, yes, that was the tone. I would gladly read something a bit more cheerful today after this, so I think I'm gonna move to Pedro Paramo here, by Juan Rulfo. So this book, as I mentioned before, is on the magical realism genre, and it was published in 1955 in Mexico, and it kind of inspired a lot of very famous authors in the genre of magical realism. So yeah, I'm gonna turn to this now and see if I manage to finish today. It's 6 p.m, so I think I can manage to get this done and probably maybe start another one, but I don't think I'll be able to finish much more, but we'll see how it goes.
Okay, so I'm halfway through Pedro Paramo, and I had a small break for dinner. Now I'm gonna finish it. I just have 60 more pages to go, and then I'll let you know what I think. I finished Pedro Paramo, and this was not a very easy book to read, in the sense that, so the premise is that there is this protagonist, Juan Preciado, who after his mom died, she sends him to find his long lost father in this remote town, but when he gets there he finds that basically the town is deserted and everyone has died, and he starts meeting all these ghosts that tell him the story of the town and of his father, Pedro Paramo, who is the title of the book. So the reason why it's not that easy to read is because it's a very non-linear narration, and so there are jumps back and forth from the present day to the past, and there are all these different characters that come in and tell a part of the story. It's difficult to tell who is really dead, who is still alive, who is a ghost, who isn't, and the sheer volume of the characters just makes it a little hard to follow at times, but I think you just sort of go with the flow and you don't worry too much about sort of remembering who exactly is each character, and of course you remember the main ones, and that's what brings the story forth. But I enjoyed it. I thought it was a really interesting experiment. The main character, Pedro Paramo, really reminded me of Don Esteban from The House of the Spirits. It's sort of like the same kind of patriarch, violent and kind of very authoritarian, and that kind of character. But I enjoyed it. So it's kind of late now. It's 11 p.m. so I think I'll start winding down for the night, and I'll start reading the fourth book, which, let me get it, which is this. So Like Water for Chocolate. So I obviously won't be able to finish it now. This is just over 200 pages, but I'll start reading it and maybe I'll finish it tomorrow. But all in all, I think it was exactly what I planned for the day. I spent the whole day reading. It was really nice. I got through 3 books from my to-be read list, and I'm gonna start the 4th one. So yes, it was a very chill Saturday, and now I'll say good night. Bye.